Okay, good. Next one. Do they have strong visual cues? Yes or no? Good. You'd probably have to read a little more about them, but they created a great story and narrative around the raves and that whole kind of industry. So they created a great story narrative. It's harder for you guys to answer that, but they created a great brand voice. Next one, Omnipresence, right? If you're a raver and you go to, and that's all they sell is liquid death at every rave, would you say that they've created omnipresence, right? If it's there every time and it starts to take over and they have sponsors there, they have big inflatables, right? Like 8-foot inflatables of their cans, people wearing them, stuff like that, t-shirts, okay? And finally, a raving community and tribe, right? It's so easy for them to do that because they're literally hitting an industry based on community, right? And tribes, which is concerts and such like. So they did a great job, okay? So next is consistency, okay? All of what I said is important, but if you only do it on and off and you don't keep pushing it, it's never going to work for you long term. The Rock's a great example of someone who stayed consistent. So he used to get paid $40 for a wrestling match. He now is one of the highest paid actors in Hollywood. He gets over 20 million per movie, okay? Shaq's another great example of an entrepreneur. The Kardashians are a famous example of successful entrepreneurs, okay? Because they're able to build a brand and do number 4, which is monetization, okay? Monetization. So who has anyone ever looked in or watched the Shaq documentary or looked at how many businesses that he owns or he's involved in? Just say yes in chat if you have. If not, you really should Google it. It's kind of fascinating, right? Like he has his hands in every pie, right? He's been really good at leveraging, right? Leveraging his, credibility, right? And his brand that he built in a totally different industry, right? Basketball, and now leveraging that across tons of different brands. My business partner, he represents Magic Johnson. He's, one of the wealthiest athletes in the world. And when I spend time with them, right, you see and you reverse engineer what he's looking at. He's looking at how can he leverage, right, the brand reputation he's built to keep growing his wealth across all different industries. Kardashians are another great example of that, right? They were probably one of the, the first influencers that really created this category. And, the mom was very important in that role because she was very specific in how she positioned them during their growth and then, their reality show and all of those things. And obviously they're one of the most famous influencers now in the world, built billion-dollar brands, one of the youngest billionaires, right? All under that family name because they understood what I'm teaching you today 20 years ago when no one else did or when very few people did. So they've done a fantastic, whether you love or hate them, right? They've done a fantastic job of leveraging and being strategic in how they grew a following, how they went viral, how they were very controversial, and then how they grew brands off the back of it. Okay. So as you're starting to grow and monetize your brand, it's important to continually use your ability, right, to influence people. So Kevin Harrington's another partner of mine. If you ever watched the show Shark Tank, okay. And what's fascinating about Shark Tank, most people don't know this, but if you go on the show, you actually give equity up to the TV production firm, right? Just by going on the show, even if you don't get an investment. Why do you think that is? Well, they realized how much of a boost that these brands were getting just by being on the show, even if they didn't get the investment. So everyone in the world, right, that watches that show, whether they invest or not, they're getting free advertisements, free promotions, okay? And when I sit with Kevin, who's been doing this 30, 40 years, he's invested in over 300 companies. He's took over 20 companies past 100 million. And I asked him, I said, what was the difference in the hundreds of companies you invested in and the 20 companies that went over 100 million? And a lot of the key principles was what I've taught today. Okay. And he said that every single product that blew up to tens and tens and tens of millions, or even 100 million, had a lot of these unique selling points and this identity that I've taught you guys so far. And there's so many ways. If you're wondering right now, well, Rudy, I still don't even haven't even flushed out my business, how to make money, what I'm going to sell. There's so many ways, guys. Okay. There's so many ways. So you can sell coaching, you can be an affiliate, you can create your own products and services, you can launch courses, you can host events. All right. And I even just put it into Google, right? And I said, give me 100 ways to monetize a brand. And it gave me 100 ways. So there's literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of ways to monetize a brand. Obviously, one of the important things is creating your own product and service. If you can, you'll generally always do better if you do that. Okay, so last but one point is when you've started to master these things and you're promoting, the next question you've got to ask yourself is, how do I stay consistent? And then how do I stay everywhere? Because every single year, there's a new influencer that pops up. There's a new leader in an industry. There's a new top selling product. So it's really, really important to try and stay omnipresent, as we call it, okay? To try and stay everywhere. So I'm on all the big magazines. I'm on TV. I'm on different TV shows and news shows about business. I've spoken on over 200 stages. We've spent millions and millions of dollars on Facebook ads. We're on all the social platforms. We do affiliates. We work with big celebrities. So I've done everything I can to stay omnipresent, to be on all the channels, to be everywhere in my space, okay? And I'm still only 1% of the way there, but we work really hard every day to show up on every platform. So one question to ask yourself right now is, what is the main one or two platforms I should start on? Because your avatar, right, your audience will generally be one or two key platforms. And then when you've started to master that, how do you go on all the different platforms, right? So how do you retarget people and target people at different stages of the buying journey, right? So you stay omnipresent, okay?